Welcome back, everybody. It is another edition of Let's Unbox the Guitar, shall we? And as you can see, the box reveals it all. This is a Gretsch. This is the Streamliner series. This is a G2420, which is their hollow body jazz box guitar kind of thing. This comes all the way from, I think it's Westchester or Winchester, Virginia, which is the warehouse for Proaudiostar. This is a used guitar per their website, but they keep selling them and keep selling them and keep selling them, so I'm guessing that just based on my previous experience, this is just how they get rid of guitars, is by either calling them open box or used. Although this box is pretty hammered, so maybe this truly is a used guitar. I don't know. I hope not. I hope it's a new guitar. Or if it's used, I hope it's in incredibly good shape. I got it for a fair price. Let's just pull it out and gaze upon the beauty. It does look like it has been out of its box just based on little things. Just the way the tape is on the bubble wrap. But honestly, if it's in good shape, such little details won't matter. I did want to mention that today is June the 6th, 2024. This is the solemn 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. I'm currently reading a book about it, and I have to tell you, it's absolutely just mind-numbing. The experience that these young men went through. Sort of my way of putting it in perspective is these were ordinary kids. I mean, some of them were, they were all adults, but a lot of them were 18, 19, 20 years old. But a group of ordinary people who did something extraordinary. And again, most of them are no longer with us. And the ones that are still here are still, I'm sure, still suffering from just the absolute trauma of what they went through. So today is definitely a reflection of their sacrifices. And that being said, I'm going to get a duster because this guitar is suffering from the schmutz syndrome. It definitely got some schmutz. It's a very lovely sunburst, very understated. There's not any crazy wild wood grain, but the little bit that's there looks nice. We're going to go over the guitar real quick. How the neck is. They call it a slim C. Let's just toss the box over here and lay the guitar down and gaze upon the beauty. And check that output jack. Feels good. So this is the third generation model, and so the first thing that's different on this guitar is they started out, I'm not sure when this guitar first came out, but they had the version 1 pickups, then they went to the version 2 pickups. These are the version 3 pickups. Supposedly this has a bone nut. Whether it does or it doesn't, I have no idea. I'm not sure what difference it would make to someone like me. It has the different finger markers. It has a different shape of the pick guard, has different knobs, has a coil split, and it has a different profile on the neck. The other one was more of a U shape. They call this a C shape. Again, I don't know if I noticed such details. But initial inspection, again, I always try to look for the obvious, and then sometimes it escapes me. I need to do what I always say that I should do, which is let my hands do the talking. The quality on these import Gretsches is pretty amazing for the price point. Again, I've mentioned this before. I did have one of these. I had a 2420 back in 2019. It was the Village Amber, the natural. Beautiful guitar. I just didn't love it. And at this point, if I don't really connect with the guitar, then it's time to just move it on to someone else. Find someone else who likes it. But anyways, back to where we were. The quality of these guitars is pretty amazing for the price point. So I'm going to go plug it in, tune it up, stretch the strings, give it a whirl, and yeah, we'll be back. So we'll see you then. Welcome back again. It is June the 6th, 2024. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon now. Had a chance to play this guitar, tune it up, stretch the strings, and so far I give it 2 thumbs up. There's only one minor issue, and it'll take a few days for us to sort of flesh that out, and that is this guitar has a very odd smell. I noticed that the box sort of had a weird smell to it, like sort of it had been exposed to moisture. And again, coming all the way from Indonesia, it's on ships, it's in packing containers, it's in warehouses, it's in trucks. But I have to say, it's the first guitar other than probably 5 years ago I bought a used Epiphone Special 1 that someone had taken a rattle can and painted it. And boy, it was just off-gassing big time, and the smell was overwhelming, and I just sent it back. This is the only other guitar I've ever had an issue where I immediately noticed that there was a smell. So I'm going to do a couple of the recommended techniques, which is I'm going to hang a couple tea bags inside to absorb, put it in front of a fan to let it circulate some air, and give it a couple days and see if that makes any improvement. If not, I will have no hesitation to send it back. In fact, I'm going to send them an email this evening letting them know that I'm having this issue, that if in fact it's temporary, I'm happy to keep the guitar. It's a beautiful guitar. I have to say that totally cosmetic, but it surprised me. There's no arrows on the tone, the volume knobs, as shown in some of the earlier guitars, so maybe they just lost those. I have no idea. I don't notice a huge tone difference with the coil splitting. Not a big deal. All the guitars I have, I'm sure, have plastic nuts. This one has a bone nut. I notice no difference at all. I don't notice a big difference with the neck profile. I'm very pleased that the Laurel fretboard is nice and dark and not really streaky. It's really hit and miss with Laurel. Some of them are just really not so good looking, but this one's just nice and dark and just feels like rosewood, so that's good. Yeah, and I do notice a bit of a difference, although it's like going back in time. The previous model that I had of this was back in 2019, and I just remember thinking that I didn't really love the pickups, and these pickups sound good, and again, that makes sense. They're different. And again, as we talk about in the world of subjectivity, good, bad, right, wrong, it's just a matter of what you like. And I happen to prefer the tone of these over those per a 5-year-old memory. So, yeah, I will probably be back in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days just to give sort of a wrap up, let you know what happened with the smell, if we were able to mitigate that, and yeah, let this thing just air out. I think that's what it needs. I think it's just been sitting in its guitar bag in its box. Again, the guitar was manufactured in March of 2023. So March to April, May to June, so that's 15 months of sitting in a box. Although I've had older guitars, that IYV guitar I just got was going on 3 years. Didn't have any smells. It did have really funky frets. The fretwork on this seems to be just beautiful. The fret ends are like butter. The fret tops, no corrosion, very smooth, plays nice. I lowered the action a little bit on the low E side, and it just plays nice. It's a different guitar. It's not like anything else I have. So, again, very pleased. So anyways, we will be back in a week with some more thoughts. But again, this is the Gretsch G2420, and I think they call Antique Brooklyn Sunburst something. Yeah. Anyways, in homage to the original Gretsch factory in Brooklyn, New York, once upon a time. All right, we'll be back. Thank you so much. Welcome back, everybody. It is Thursday morning, June the 13th, 2024. I've had this guitar now for 1 week. This is the Gretsch G2420 in Antique Brooklyn Burst. Oh, you gotta love marketing. Looks like a regular Sunburst to me, but marketing says come up with another name. Anyways, I have another guitar arriving today, so I thought I'd just put some finishing thoughts on this guitar. You will notice a couple oddities, and I'll explain those right now. The blue tape is to make up for what they should have done. There should be some line, some marker, something on the control knobs. They didn't put them there. And this here is 2 tea bags. And the reason why, I may or may not have mentioned it, it's been a week, but when I first got this guitar, it had a really, really, really strong glue smell emanating from the F-holes. So much so that the first 2 days I played this guitar, it actually gave me a headache and a sore throat. And I was very likely going to return the guitar. I contacted Gretsch. They were like, we've never heard of it. I contacted Proaudiostar. We've never heard of it. I went online. There was one other guy, same exact guitar, had the same issue. But obviously it's a rare issue, or people just passed out and never took the time to complain about it. Anyways, it felt good to know at least one other person was having a similar issue. We're probably going to lose battery power here, so if there's a sudden chop, that's what it is, because my battery warning is talking to me, and it doesn't beep. It doesn't have a 20 seconds left notification. It just shuts down. But anyways, I took the sage advice of some people online and left the guitar out on the stand, put a fan on it, hung some tea bags in it to absorb the odor. And a week later, I have to say that I don't notice any odor. So I will remove the tea bags and we'll be fine. So this is a really, really, really nice guitar for the price. Even if you were paying full price, $500, it's certainly within the realm. It had 2 minor cosmetic flaws, not even worth mentioning. My biggest complaint about this guitar, about the Streamliner series, and I think even the Electromatics, is they go cheap. They should put a jack plate. It's the right thing to do. Not only does it give you extra strength down there to a very vulnerable area, but if it gets loose and you have any issues, the beauty of a jack plate is 4 screws. You pull it out of the body and you can tighten it up. If you have a break in the wire, you can access it. It just makes sense. I don't know why they do that. And again, as I mentioned earlier, they should put some kind of marker on the control knobs. It's weird because this is the Streamliner series version number 3. This one has the BTS3 pickups. Again, I don't know what that means. And some of those models have the radio control knobs that have the little arrow on it, which I don't know why they decided to just put a little gold insert on this, but that's what marketing does. I'm really pleased with the fretboard on this. Laurel is a real gamble. Sometimes you get real... Yes, that was the power outage I spoke of, new batteries in. So yes, the Laurel fretboard, this one's nice. I love what they call the neoclassical thumbnail fret markers. Nice change. They really, again, I know you got to cut corners. I know this is not a $5,000 D'Angelico jazz guitar, but this is pitiful. I mean, that's got to be the cheapest push-pull knob. Some of the better ones are more silent. You obviously could not do that while you were performing, or certainly not during a recording. Doesn't matter to me because I don't perform and I don't record, but really cheap. And the resistance on this thing is just really bad. These have a nice bit of resistance. This one you breathe on it and it moves. But other than that, very satisfied. And again, the Streamliner series being imports from Indonesia, the build quality is just really very nice on these. Getting some crazy reflections. Let's go over here. Yes. No crazy reflections from this angle. Just really consistent. I've had 3 or 4 of these. I've got another one coming today, not this model. And they're just very consistent. And that's what QC is all about. You know, the final inspection, what are we going to let pass through? And some of the other budget brands, if you get a good one, woo-hoo, you know, but sometimes you don't. I weighed this yesterday. It came in at 2 different weights. The first was 6.8, the second was 6.6. Let's compromise and say it's 6.7. It's funny because visually your mind is telling you, because of the size, that it's going to weigh more than that. So I think I lost my job as the carnival weight guesser because I was guessing this thing weighed about 7.5 pounds. And it doesn't. And I'm sure that's just my eyes telling me just by the size. So overall, I'm very satisfied with this guitar. I think I mentioned that I had one of these 3 years ago in the Village Amber, which is the natural. And I didn't really like it as much, and therefore I sold it. But I just started thinking this was like the one style of guitar that I didn't have. And everyone should have one of these. I briefly considered getting the IYV IJZ 500, but yeah, it's thicker than this guitar. It's supposed to be quite heavy. Visually, it's really pretty to look at, but there's almost too much going on. And at the end of the day, when all things are concluded, when all information has been commodulated, I appreciate a guitar that's nice to look at, but most importantly is how does it play. And I was pretty comfortable that I was going to get a guitar that, again, quality control was of a really good level. So anyways, 2 thumbs up. Why, yes. And again, this is the Gretsch G2420 and Antique Brooklyn Burst. Thank you very much. We'll be back later today to reveal our latest acquisition.